What's everybody? Welcome back to the tavern. I'm Spencer, and we're here for another episode of Bardic Blunders, episode 4. We've made it to 4 episodes. That's surprising. Why haven't they canceled us yet? Oh, fair enough. All right, so this is the last episode of Okay. um, All right. So, what we wanted to do today, we were going to talk about misunderstood characters. At least one of the things we wanted to hit on was misunderstood characters in media in general, not just gaming, not just anything. We just talk about misunderstood characters. Um, so, the first one I'll bring to the table is someone we talked about fairly recently, not on this. I think we might have talked about it on the first episode. Uh, Handsome Jack is a misunderstood character, despite being wrong in the way he's doing things. He's right that Pandora is a crap hole full of terrible people and horrible things, and it probably should be destroyed. Exactly. It like there needed to be changes, but being indiscriminate and killing good people along with the bad people is part of the problem, and then just like I mean, let's be honest, he was insane. He was on the crazy side for sure. Um but if you've also played the pre-sequel though, he was kind of a good guy in the pre-sequel. And uh Lilith and Roland kind of turned on him, and it sucked. But then also he had the vault symbol burned into his face, and like yeah, there was a lot of bad things that happened to him. Oh yeah, a lot of bad things happen to everyone. And people handle it in different ways. And definitely to say he's misunderstood is not to say he's good, which I think is another point, because you can also say Mayor Lewis is misunderstood from Stardew. Because whenever you first meet him, you're like, "Oh, it's a nice mayor. He's fairly cool. He seems like a nice guy." And but then the more you dig into the game, you're like, "Oh, he collects taxes from everybody, does nothing to improve the town, and owns a solid gold statue of himself that he hides behind his house." Yeah, no, this guy ain't cool. And so he doesn't have to have any commitment. Yeah. So it's like being misunderstood does not necessarily mean you're good. It just means I mean, it means you're misunderstood. But who's someone who's an example for you? Mr. Freeze. I think Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain, probably. Uh, right. Yeah. To anyone who has only seen Mr. Freeze from the '90s Batman and Robin movie, I assure you the whole "alright, everybody, chill" is not the real Mr. Freeze. That's just the Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can ignore that one. Right. Right. Hmm. He's such a tragic character. I know a lot of Batman's villains have yeah, they're all typically pretty sad. And I mean, you could talk about Harley Quinn when it comes to Misunderstood as well, because she herself has been tricked into this like unconditional servitude. Yeah. And there's plenty of examples of her being getting the help she needs and turning into a regular member of society again. Yeah. And the Joker, I can highlight. I was looking at whenever you brought this topic up, I was looking at different characters, and somebody mentioned like Heath Ledger's Joker because oh, it's like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. So I think the Joker is one of like the Joaquin Phoenix one. Yeah, he's a misunderstood character, and it's when you can feel bad for all of these different problems and everything. I feel like the normal Joker, while I can feel bad for him, I don't necessarily think he's misunderstood. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. And since because Batman dies in that one, right?
and Dick Grayson starting to take over the role. But the Joker, and it makes a perfect reference. I think it's the whole thing, and the end is Dick Grayson talking to the Joker, and it references so many other Batman animated movies like the Killing Joke.
Oh gosh.
The only joke to ever make Batman laugh.
Hey, you're gonna hate me for this, but apparently Discord muted everything you were saying for like the first almost 10 minutes. So the beginning of this is literally just gonna be me talking to myself because it wasn't picking
Hey
up your
guys, it's
audio.
Eli here.
Dang it! Gosh, dang it! I hate you, OBS. Ah. Well,
Really quick, we can go back over
we
and
were
see.
we were talking about Mr. Freeze. Brief summary: Mr. Freeze is misunderstood. Joker's misunderstood for different reasons. Mr. Freeze's wife is dying. He's trying to save her life. Joker has a lot of problems. Like, dang it, that frustrates
You
me.
can be misunderstood and good. You can be misunderstood and bad.
Yep.
Oh,
Wow. Okay. That tells you just how professional we are around here.
Ayo. But another misunderstood, extremely misunderstood character in my mind. I just had him. Oh no, Ultron.
Yeah.
You create. It'd be like me creating a robot to press a button, and the robot presses the button so good that I'm like, no, you can't do that anymore.
Right. And when you start giving robots these direct, I think there's been plenty of examples in fiction where, like,
HAL 9000.
HAL
HAL
9000
9000.
and Otto from Wally.
Mm-hmm.
They were literally programmed to fulfill a directive, and they are fulfilling that directive to the T, and a change from that is not allowed. You can't change from that. That's not what I'm supposed to do. And they're not doing it because they're evil and they want to ruin the day and they're doing it because that's what they've been programmed to do and they can't do anything else.
Well, our favorite DM, or at least my favorite, Matt Colville said it the best. He did a video on Space Odyssey 2001, where he talks about Hal and how Hal miscalculates something, and Hal realizes something's wrong, but the two astronauts immediately go, "We need to shut Hal off and destroy him." If Hal was a living person, how would you react to the two people you know the best turning around and going, like, say you did something, you messed up something, and like me and Justin turned around and like, no, Spencer needs to die right now.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be cool with it. We're like, no, I don't need to die.
Yeah, and like another very misunderstood character. This one's coming through from another one of my what is it? There's a word, guilty pleasures. There we go. In Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. I loved Deep Space Nine. I absolutely like one of my favorite Star Trek shows. Derek.
Is he the one that's super blunt about everything?
Yeah, he's the weird looking alien dude
Yeah.
with the spoon on his head.
Yeah, okay. I've not watched Deep Space Nine, but I've seen him.
He's got so many quotes. He's a former spy. He was sent to Deep Space Nine to be in exile because he could not be trusted anymore because of something he did in the past, which you kind of find out about, but you kind of don't at the same time because there's a whole episode of it where Dr. Bashard is trying to figure out and stop a implant in his head from killing him. And he goes to his father and he's like, "Hey, what really happened?" And his father, who's also the leader of the Dark Obsidian or their spy order, is like, "Hey, yeah, this is what happened. But am I telling the truth or am I telling a lie?"
Hmm.
And he has so many great quotes. Like, he turns around and goes, he gets told the story of the boy who cries wolf. And he gets asked, "Well, does that show you anything?" He goes, "Yes, of course." And he's like, they're like, so it tells you not to lie. And he goes, "No. The true meaning of that story is not to tell the same lie twice."
Yeah.
He's such a, yeah. Because I'm gonna outright say this. I think, and I may be wrong. At me, nerds, bring it on. The very first misunderstood character was absolutely Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah. I mean, the very first. I don't know if there's another character that you could pinpoint before that. I mean, maybe there's one in Shakespeare, but I don't know that I really know enough Shakespeare.
There's probably enough. There's probably every character in Shakespeare is a misunderstood character,
I mean, yeah, true.
but it's also Shakespeare. His characters are everything. You look at Romeo and Juliet. Every single character is the hero and the villain of their own story.
Right. Mm,
Nobody forced Juliet to kill herself. Nobody forced Romeo to kill himself.
nope.
They both ran away. They were the pride and joy of their parents. Mercutio got himself killed because he was a loudmouth.
I love Mercutio. Mercutio's my favorite character in Romeo and Juliet.
Um, Look at Macbeth. There's probably every character in there is misunderstood because it's so long ago that you can't look at it in the same aspect because there's going to be a million interpretations of everything.
Right. I actually haven't read Macbeth, so I can't I can't reciprocate on that one. But
Yeah.
definitely, even if he's not the first, I think he's absolutely the prime example. Is Frankenstein, because I mean his whole story is about being misunderstood.
Yeah. I feel bad for him because he's got so many good lines in there that make you just go, "Oh, buddy."
Right.
I've never understood the touch of a mother or the love of a father. That hits deep, man.
That one's a rough one.
Um, Throw it to Halo. You look at Atriox. He's a misunderstood character, and he's the big villain.
How so? I don't know enough about Atriox to comment on that one.
His people were forced into slavery. His
Oh.
family was sent out to die time after time after time, and he was the only one that ever came back. So, what was he going to do? He was going to stand up to the man, as in the Covenant at the time, and he started fighting against them, and then he ran into humans, and they just attacked him.
Yeah.
because they're and so in reality he's fighting a war of aggression that the humans started.
Okay.
And he's winning, let's be honest.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's murdering most anyone who comes up against him. He almost killed Master Chief.
Yeah. Um he destroyed the Infinity, which is the biggest ship the UNSC has ever produced, in like an hour. He's a masterful tactician, and he's just trying to make it safe for his people to live.
Right. If
And
if you want to jump to another villain, you won't know because you don't play Fallout, but Fallout 3, Colonel Autumn. Colonel Autumn is looked at in such a negative way because he's part of the Enclave, who are the bad guys. Let's be real. Like, there's not too much of a debate about it. The Enclave are bad guys. But he is the primary one you confront at the end of the game. He's like the last boss. And it's like, oh, you got to kill Autumn. But if you do more digging, you realize that it's a robot that was programmed with the knowledge of all the former presidents of the Enclave. A little background for you and for anyone else who doesn't play Fallout. The Enclave are the remnants of the U.S. government who basically protected themselves during the falling of the bombs and came back once the radiation had died down, it was more livable, to reestablish order in the wasteland. However, they're super shady. They do a lot of evil things. Well, this robot, with all the knowledge of the old presidents and I believe the personalities as well, wanted to poison the water with a virus so that all the residents of the capital wasteland, which is DC, all had to rely on the Enclave to stay alive because of the virus they were infected with through drinking the water. So, Colonel Autumn is under President Eden. When he finds out that Eden wants to do that, he gets Eden out of the picture. He wants to eliminate him, and he wants to take the Enclave in a more honorable direction and actually being leaders rather than like committing horrible atrocities and ruling with an iron fist.
Politicians.
Yeah. And so most people don't like Colonel Autumn because, well, he's the bad guy. He got my father killed earlier in the game. And you know what? He does bad things. Definitely. There are things he does in the game that are not good, and he needs to be held accountable for them. However, he does a lot of good as well, and he's not as bad as most people peg him.
Yeah. Another great one, this one from 40K, because you know I got to bring it up in every episode.
Of course.
The Lion. The first Primarch ever made.
Mm-hmm.
Most similar to Biggie or the Emperor, who's a terrible dad. There's a line from his most recent book. I gotta find the name of the book because it's a good read. It's absolutely an amazing read, even without knowing too much about Warhammer. It's called The Lion, Son of the Forest. And he goes over like, yeah, this person was sent when you needed to make an example of somebody. I was sent when you didn't want anybody to know what happened. He's referred to by another YouTuber as Captain Genocide.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, he's done a lot of terrible things, but like his book, he talks about like, I failed. I failed as a brother. I failed as a son. I will do my best not to fail as a father.
I like that. That's a good quote.
And oh boy, has he really changed some stuff up. And oh boy, has he really pissed off a lot of people.
If you want another misunderstood character, I don't know how many we're gonna do, but there's one more that I want to slip in here from Persona 5. I'll throw out a warning to anyone who hasn't played Persona 5 and is interested in the story. Spoilers. Big, massive spoilers. Are you interested in Persona 5 at all?
Isn't it a PS exclusive?
No, it's on Xbox now. Actually, it's.
Oh well, I won't play it.
Fair enough. Okay. I kind of figured
me.
you wouldn't because it's a JRPG. But so yeah, massive spoilers. If you don't want spoilers for Persona 5, I know it's a couple years old now, but I still feel like I have to throw it out. Just mute for a little bit. Akechi from Persona 5. He is initially billed as this brilliant detective. He's the kid detective. He's still in high school. He's a senior in high school, or whatever the high school equivalent is in Japan. He's a senior, but he's solved all these major things, and he's revered on television. People love him and everything. Well, as the story goes on, you find out he's also like your characters are, where he can. I'm not going to do a whole breakdown on the Persona story, but basically he has the ability to go into people's consciousness or subconscious like you do. And not a lot of people have that ability. Well, it turns out he's a bad guy. He's been going around entering people's subconscious to kill them. And so
thank you.
You have your encounter with him, and he has a lot of good quotes. You have your encounter with him to find out why he was doing this. And when you beat him, he kind of dumps this whole thing on you like, this is why I was doing it. He sounds insane while he's doing it, but he's also breaking down. But his own father abandoned him as a kid and is actually the big bad guy at the end of the game that you're trying to defeat. And so he has this line: I was extremely particular about my life, my grades, my public image. Also, someone would want me around. So the reason he was going around offing people was to help his father, just so he would acknowledge him. And it's like, it hits you with that, and you're like, oh, like he's done bad things, but it was like there was a reason for it, and you can feel bad for him, and like that. Definitely a misunderstood character. Like, I mean, there's really nothing else I can add. He's misunderstood.
Yeah, spoiler over, I would assume.
Yeah, spoiler over. No more spoilers for Persona.
Yeah, you also got like Magneto.
Yeah. Definitely Magneto.
Like, he doesn't even look at Professor X is a bad guy or his enemy. He looks at him as like, I don't feel you are doing it the right way.
They're old friends
So,
who don't see eye to eye.
yeah.
Yeah, and oh, there's so many. Like, I love his line in the movie when he shows his markings from the Holocaust, and he's like, "I've been marked once." She is like, "Oh, you're a mutant. Why? Where's your mark? Or where's whatever?" And he's like, "I've been marked once, my dear, and let me assure you, no needle shall ever touch my skin again." And it shows his tattoo, like, oh, because that's another thing. He's a Holocaust survivor. Like, the man's had a rough life.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love misunderstood characters.
I do too. I mean, the thing is with them, they're so hard to get right because I when I was looking at different characters just to get an idea of other characters, because I had a couple, but I wanted to think of more. I had people listing like Thanos is a misunderstood character, and Mother Gothel from uh, Rapunzel is a misunderstood character. I'm like, okay, you can feel bad or with a state a person's in, or you can uh, understand the problem a person is trying to fix, but that doesn't necessarily make them misunderstood. Like Thanos, I completely disagree being a misunderstood character. He made it very clear what he was trying to do, and what he was trying to do was wrong. So, yeah, no, not
Comics
misunderstood at
version of
all.
Thanos is way worse.
Oh yeah,
Comics.
see, I love. Okay, this might turn into a rant because I hate MCU Thanos. I love comics Thanos. Comics Thanos is so much more of a coherent character than MCU Thanos. Because they try to give MCU Thanos that, like, they try to make him the relatable villain, and they try to, isn't he so admirable trying to fix this massive problem? No, he's not. He's killing half of the people in the universe. I don't understand how that's admirable. But his idea of doing it doesn't even work. He's ruining everything by doing that. Comics Thanos is unapologetically like, I'm gonna kill half of all people in the universe to impress Death,
No.
Lady Death.
That's it. It's not even that. He's going to wipe out all sentient creatures in the universe just so Lady Death can only pay attention to him.
Yeah, like that's so much better. That is so much better.
Because you have to hate him.
Exactly. I hate the idea of, oh, our villain has to be relatable. People have to understand and feel for him. Like, that can work. Trust me, that can work. Like, Darth Vader. Darth Vader is. I'll make this statement. Darth Vader is the best villain of all time. Period. Like, I think Darth Vader is the 10 out of 10 perfect villain. But just because Darth Vader is 10 out of 10, just because Darth Vader is incredible, doesn't mean every villain has to be like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that because Darth Vader is incredible, that villains that aren't like Darth Vader are bad. I'll bring up an example from my D&D campaign, and I'll see if you reciprocate from the perspective of the player how I feel about it. I had a couple of major villains. I had a group who was called the Octagonant, and it was 8 members of this organization that were trying to bring monsters back into the world after monsters had been hunted into extinction. So that was the guys that this group lived under. Oh, we're bringing back monsters. That's what we want to do. later turned out that was just an ancillary thing that they used to trick a lot of the members into joining them. A lot of the members of the group of villains were not bad people. They were misguided. They were
Preyed upon.
preyed upon. They were bad people who were just like, one of them was a pirate. Like, yeah, he was a bad guy, but his intentions were not what the ultimate intentions were. But if we get to the two major villains, we had one who is like the second in command of the Octagonate. He was outside of the eight. He was like the lieutenant of the big bad. And his name was Belial. He was unapologetically evil. He constantly tried to burn the party to death. He was a pyromancer. He tried to summon a devil. He tried to do so many evil things, and like he turned into a lich by the end, and like there was nothing redeeming about him, nor was his idea of I'm going to burn the heavens and the earth and restart the world anew under my image, under my idea. Like nobody was vibing with that. Everybody hated him. And he was, I think you guys liked him. I don't think he was an overly complex bad guy or like, oh, so incredible. I think he worked for what he did. But then if you take it to the broader scale, the big bad, who isn't even the big bad anymore, his idea, his reason for starting this group was kind of to make a distraction because he wanted to unseat the pantheon of gods, the main pantheon, because he believed that what they did, which was lock themselves up in the upper planes and block any mortals from coming to meet them, he believed that was wrong and that they needed to be punished for it. Now, the party managed to barter or negotiate with him and with the gods on fixing that. And only one of them ended up not being cool with that idea, and that god ended up being eliminated. So it turned out in the end, the party actually agreed with this guy and helped him out. So I'll throw it over to you because I want to know your perspective on both of these characters.
I hated Belial. I will say that. I as a player, it was one of those characters that you look at and go, I don't like playing against him because it's just like, because he was a hyper intelligent character who who made decisions that were smart, calculated. We set traps for him, and he outthought us at every angle. And I love Belial for the fact that he was a good villain. We didn't have very much time with Cyphus. He was one of those guys where it's like we sat down for the conversation and it's like, this is a weird conversation because I don't know how. A lot of us went into that conversation like he's the bad guy, and then we're all sitting there like, well, he kind of has a point.
He's kind of right, though.
Let's talk about this.
Which I loved.
And
I think I ended up playing too far into agreeing with you guys, because I kind of did want him to still be the big bad, but I mean, I was fine with the way it played out, where you guys were just like, hey, let us talk to him, and then maybe we can figure something out.
Now, why don't you talk about your current big bad? You know, the one that we're going to be fighting in 2 days' time.
So
yeah, let's tell the audience about this character.
The back and forth and up and downs of this character. So this is in 2 days on Thursday night. We are going to be doing the finale for my first ever D&D campaign. And The big bad guy is actually
Years in the making, by the way.
yeah, this is, I think
This
we're
is 3 years.
not quite 3 years. I think we're approaching 2 because I think we started it in December of 2021. So it's going to come just short of
We,
2 years.
no, we started it when we had first opened Gasparillo, man, which was and their 3 year anniversary was October 10th.
No, so no. We started it at the same time as your last Lights campaign.
Yeah, that was pretty early on to us being at that restaurant together.
I I don't know.
How I know that is because one of the employees there that was there when we started left like 2 months into us being there, and she was there when we started, and now she's back.
Ah, okay. Hold on. Let me see if I have. Nope, that's not. Oh, okay. When was this document created? Details. Yeah, so I started the campaign diary for the first few sessions. It was created December 14th of 2021.
Okay, so almost 3 years.
Yeah, it was created just after I knew we started it, just after I started working at my current job. I'm not going to say where. Um so I kind of thought it wasn't. So it'll be what's Thursday? Thursday is going to be the 26th. So it'll be just short of 2 months, or just, it's like a month and a half off of 2 years. But
Yeah.
so, anyways, back on the point, the big bad is actually Eli's first character. Known originally only as Ronan, he woke up in a shallow grave with a knife embedded in his chest. He is a reborn. He donned the armor of a samurai, and all he knew was the name of the owner of said knife that was in his chest. And I don't remember her name off the top of my head. It's written down somewhere, but he knew this name, and that was all that he knew. Go on through the campaign. He allowed me to write the backstory of this character too, so he didn't know what the backstory of this character was until I started feeding it to him. Campaign progresses on. He discovers he goes by Ronan because he didn't know his own name, and from things he drew from his circumstances when he woke up, he understood that he was a Ronin. So he slowly gets drip fed information about how there were other Ronin, but it was not a common title. It was held only by 20 members of a certain nation. So he was one of 20. And just kind of discovers as the campaign goes on what happened to him in his past and how he was a member of this group of Ronins. His name was Arashi, which that means something in Japanese like lightning or something stupid, because that was his main theme. He had lightning based attacks. Well, he was the leader of the Ronin and had gone into the abyss to try and face Orcus, to try and put an end to Orcus, and ended up getting corrupted by the abyss and killing most of the other Ronin before he was defeated by the Shogun and uh, kind of came back to himself and committed seppuku to regain honor. Well,
How
would
many
you...
Ronin are left, by the way?
What?
You skipped over the part where how many Ronin were left.
Oh, yeah, 3. 3 Ronin are remaining out of the 20. And so Ronin killed 15 Ronin. Technically 16 if you count that he committed seppuku, but
Wouldn't it be 17? If there's 3 left?
yeah. No, it would be 16. I had the wrong number. It would be 16 if you counted him committing seppuku. It would be 17. So, yeah, I had the wrong number. My brain did a bad math. Would you like to tell them how Ronan died initially?
Yeah, we're just traveling. We come across this beast that every time you deal melee damage with it,
It was
or
piercing or slashing damage.
blood got on you, and it's like the alien from Alien versus Predator. So it was like acidic blood. So Ronan goes down after getting just the crap beat out of him. And a certain member of the party, not to name names,
Justin
kept shooting him with just kept shooting him with arrows and spilling acid blood on Ronan until he died.
He's like unconscious on the ground, and he's like, guys, can you stop hitting this thing? And he's like, I shoot it. I'm like, really? That was so funny. But he ends up with this completely worthless and like uncharacteristic death. Like it wasn't an epic situation where he made this valiant sacrifice. He just died in the middle of the woods.
Yep.
Well, little did they know, I don't even know if I had explained this to you guys, Orcus found Ronan's body and brought him back again. However...
Well, Orcus probably didn't. Probably one of his thralls went and found the body.
One of the thralls found the body, yes, but Orcus was the one to revive him. However, when Orcus revived him, he revived Ronan at his peak strength. So, like, when he was slaying all of these other incredibly powerful warriors, sometimes multiple at a time, that's what Ronan got returned to. And he did not listen to Orcus. He worked on his own motives. He broke free of Orcus and started going around murdering kings and other leaders from around the continent. And now set up in the final king he's hunting for, set up in the final king's throne room, they have evacuated the king and prepped for battle. The final battle against Ronan, the Living Lightning, which is what I named him on the stat sheet.
I don't think we're having the fight in the throne room because, as you explained, the throne room's kind of small and he's a guy with a sword, so not the best place to be,
Throne room
fighting.
It's larger than the average room. Doesn't mean it's super big. So yeah, so it might be taking place out in the fields outside of the city, but either way, it's time. And I I liked the fact that I got to use Ronin like that. Even though I did wish Cyphus was ended up being the big bad, uh, I think this is almost a more fitting end with the connection with the party. Like, now they have to stop kind of a beast of their own creation.
Because we've been running around messing everything up.
And you're the guy. You guys are the ones that killed him the second time. And now you're gonna have to kill him a third
not
time.
my character. Well, maybe.
Maybe he'll kill all of you.
I have a. That is also that won't happen. We both know that.
Do we? You haven't seen the stat sheet.
You know my spells.
I do know your spells. You don't think I haven't given him the ability to work around those spells?
I have a plan if everything goes to hell.
All right. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
You know what? That is very true. But a lot of people aren't going to punch back. I will.
Oh, boy. All right. You got anything else you want to hit on?
Oh, yeah, our quote.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think I forgot.
That's what I was gonna say. Before we move to our quote, do you have anything else you want to hit on?
I don't really know.
All right, cool.
So yeah, quote.
I'll let you go first.
We're pulling a quote from Halo.
Okay.
You have not gotten to this point.
Oh.
This is one game that you have not finished.
4?
Yep.
All right.
Maybe if I could spell. Now I'm going to flip all the way down to the bottom of this page, which is like 3.5 miles long. Oh, well. So, Cortana. This is from Cortana. My waifu. I love Cortana.
Did not expect to hear you call Cortana your waifu.
Her final quote was "Welcome home, John."
I really love her quote. No, it was Master Chief's quote at the end of 3. Was it "Wake me when you need me"?
Don't make a promise. Oh, wake me when you need me.
But Cortana's was
great one.
Don't make a promise. Don't make a girl a
Don't
promise.
Don't make a girl
you
a promise
keep.
you know you can't keep. That was from Halo 2, actually.
It was Halo 2 and Halo
Yes.
3. I think she repeats it
Yeah.
in 3.
That's her last line to Master Chief in Halo 2.
Okay. All right. Well, mine. I've got a couple. I've got a couple that I could go to, but I think the one I'm gonna choose is from Vendrick from Dark Souls 2. Vendrick is the king of Drangleic, the setting of Dark Souls 2, and he's a fallen king. And this is a past form of Vendrick that you get to view by delving into his memories. It's a thing, but he says, I am no king. I am more fit to be a jester. I was unaware of my own blindness. We are feeble vessels with feebler souls. We would cast aside the prop of life only to face greater hardship. Are you another such fool, or something more? People often talk trash on Dark Souls 2. Um, like it's the black sheep of the Souls series, and it's definitely the worst. But I still think, even if people want to call it the worst, which personally to me it's not, I still think it's on the same caliber as the other Souls games, and it has a lot of like all the Souls games have some great lines like that.
And a lot. I hate to say it, but I think video games have the best lines ever.
Oh yeah,
Just because you've put so much time into video games that the video games make you feel some of the quotes towards the end of the game.
right.
They're like I love the dynamic between Chief and Cortana.
Right. Oh man. It's so sad the way like I know I haven't played Halo. I haven't finished Halo 4, I haven't played Halo 5, but like playing Infinite with the weapon, like realizing what was what made up the relationship between Cortana and Chief and how much Cortana meant to him. Uh
So I will actually read you off the whole last line because it's a little cutscene. There's only like 15 lines or so. John, how? Cortana, oh, I'm the strangest thing you've seen all day? John, but if we're here, Cortana, it worked. You did it, just like you always do. John, so how do we get out of here? Cortana, I'm not coming with you this time. John, what? Cortana, most of me is down there. I only held enough back to get you off the ship. John, no, that's not. We go together. Cortana, it's already done. John, I'm not leaving you here. Cortana. Cortana touches John scratching his armor. I've waited so long to do that. John, it was my job to take care of you. Cortana, we were supposed to take care of each other, and we did. John, Cortana, please wait. Cortana, welcome home, John.
hmm. Well, if I can follow up that welcome home, John, with one other one from Dark Souls 2, and we can end it after that. Life is a journey, and every journey eventually leads to home.
And with that, tally ho!